President Donald Trump gave governors a roadmap Thursday for recovering from the economic pain of the coronavirus pandemic, laying out a phased and deliberate approach to restoring normal activity in places that have strong testing and are seeing a decrease in COVID-19 cases. "We're starting our life again," Trump said during his daily press briefing. "We're starting rejuvenation of our economy again." He added, "This is a gradual process." The new guidelines are aimed at easing restrictions in areas with low transmission of the coronavirus, while holding the line in harder hit locations. They make clear that the return to normalcy will be a far longer process than Trump initially envisioned, with federal officials warning that some social distancing measures may need to remain in place through the end of the year to prevent a new outbreak. And they largely reinforce plans already in works by governors who have primary responsibility for public health in their states. "You're going to call your own shots," Trump told the governors Thursday afternoon in a conference call, according to an audio recording obtained by the Associated Press. "We're going to be standing alongside of you." Places with declining infections and strong testing would begin a three-phase gradual reopening of business and schools. What is in the plan? The administration's 18-page guidance document details 3 phases to reopen state economies, with each phase lasting at minimum 14 days. The guidelines in full can be seen here. They include some recommendations across all 3 phases, including good personal hygiene and employers developing policies to ensure social distancing, testing, and contact tracing. Phase 1 includes much of the current lockdown measures, such as avoiding non-essential travel and not gathering in groups, but it says large venues such as restaurants, places of worship, and sports venues can operate under strict physical distancing protocols. If there is no evidence of a resurgence of the coronavirus, Phase 2 allows non-essential travel to resume. The guidance says schools can reopen and bars can operate with diminished standing room occupancy. Under Phase 3, states which are still seeing a downward trend of symptoms and cases can allow public interactions with physical distancing and the unrestricted staffing of worksites. Visits to care homes and hospitals can resume and bars can increase their standing room capacity. Some regions could begin returning to normal after a month-long evaluation period, at the earliest according to the document. In places where there are more infections or where rates begin to rise, it could take longer. The coordinator of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, Dr. Deborah Birx, told Thursday's briefing that as states work through the 3 phases, they could allow for more and more employees to return to work in increments. Phase 3 will be the new normal, she said, and would still include suggestions that vulnerable people should avoid crowded spaces. The White House guidelines call for a staged reopening, which is consistent with recommendations from many experts. A study from McKinsey Company, which is advising New York Governor Andrew Cuomo as he battles the nation's worst coronavirus outbreak, recommends opening a few sectors at a time, based on both the risk of transmission and the relative importance of each sector as defined by number of jobs and contribution to the economy. The guidelines also call for school, factories, shops, and restaurants to function differently than before the pandemic. Again, broadly consistent with a wide range of experts who say that maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, and frequent hand washing and cleaning are critical to keeping the public safe. But those practices will slow commerce. As for reopening gyms and entertainment venues, which the White House plans suggest is possible in phase 1 of a restart for more US food, and Drug Administration Chief Scott Gottlieb urged caution. Those may not be permitted until we have seen that work can safely return without a resurgence, tweeted Gottlieb, who was FDA Commissioner from 2017 to 2019 and was otherwise generally supportive of the guidelines. Assuming the country weathers the first stage of a restart without a resurgence of coronavirus, it is not clear, based on the guidelines, how quickly states could move to the next phases. That is key to gauging how quickly the economy can rebound. If each of the 3 phases in the guidelines lasts just 2 weeks, that's too fast, tweeted Tom Igglesby, director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. It also may not be smooth. Economists warn that a false start, where the economy reopens, infections surge, and the economy needs to shut down again, could prolong the downturn. But governors of some states, including California and Idaho, say that's exactly what they will do, and that would likely further slow economic recovery. Public health experts, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, and business leaders have warned that the United States must significantly expand its testing capacity nationwide before reopening to avoid a devastating rebound of COVID-19, which has officially infected more than 667,000 people and killed more than 30,000 in the United States. We have to have something in place that is efficient and that we can rely on, and we are not there yet. Fauci told the Associated Press in an interview on Tuesday. Last week, as Common Dreams reported, Trump dismissed warnings that a functional nationwide testing system must be in place before any attempt to reopen large sectors of the United States economy. We want to have it, and we're going to see if we have it, Trump said at a press briefing. Do you need it? No. Is it a nice thing to do? Yes. In a conference call on Wednesday, business leaders told Trump that expanded testing was necessary before Americans could safely return to work. The Los Angeles Times reported, citing an anonymous person briefed on the call. But, according to the Times, the message was largely drowned out by Trump's determination to solicit praise from the participants. But while Trump boasted of the country's comeback from the coronavirus grip, healthcare authorities say that rushing to reopen the economy without adequate measures like widespread testing could have disastrous implications on containing the virus. There have been some very partisan voices in the media who have spread false and misleading information about our testing capacity, Trump said during the Friday briefing. But experts say that the United States still needs to ramp up its testing capabilities more aggressively, trace the contacts of those infected, and build up hospitals' capacities to treat COVID-19 patients before they can consider the virus contained. Despite still lagging in those efforts, Trump has spoken victoriously on the nation's handling of the virus and said he expects to see some states relaxing restrictions even before the federal guidelines for social distancing expire on May 1. Vice President Mike Pence and Dr. Anthony Fauci supported Trump in saying that the United States had enough tests specifically to move into Phase 1 of the reopening plan, which calls to limit social gatherings to 10 people or fewer, and for vulnerable populations to continue to shelter in place. Trump is eager to reopen the slumbering United States economy as employment numbers soar and businesses struggle to stay afloat. The administration says more than 80 million Americans have received coronavirus relief payments of up to $1,200, and on Friday, an additional stimulus package of $19 billion for farmers, ranchers, and producers was announced to help relieve the strain the pandemic has put on the agriculture industry. Earlier this week, Trump spoke to governors to outline his administration's vision for reopening the economy, though several state leaders spoke out after the call to reject the president's suggested timeline. By Friday morning, the disagreement on timing had escalated into a full-on spat between Trump and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. The federal government has to be part of this approach, Cuomo said in his Friday coronavirus briefing. Cuomo was talking about the state's testing abilities, noting that officials did not have enough supplies to match the need for COVID-19 tests. Before Cuomo had even finished his news conference, Trump tweeted to tell the governor to stop talking. Governor Cuomo should spend more time doing and less time complaining. Get out there and get the job done, Trump wrote. Cuomo, prompted by a reported question, responded just minutes later during the briefing. He's sitting home watching TV. Maybe you should get up and go to work, Cuomo said. How many times do you want me to say thank you? But I'm saying thank you for doing your job. This was your role as president, he added later. The clash carried on through the afternoon with Trump tweeting, Cuomo ridiculously wanted 40,000 ventilators. We gave him a small fraction of that number, and it was plenty. State should have had them in stockpile. The administration's disagreements with Democratic officials bled into a Friday phone call between Pence and Senate Democrats. A Democratic source told NPR that nearly every question to Pence fielded on the call was related to testing. The source said that the feeling on the call was that the administration was avoiding giving clear answers. I've never been so mad about a phone call in my life, the source report said. Angus King saying during the call. King criticized the administration, the source says, for not developing an adequate national testing system. Sen Tim Kaine also brought up that Trump tweeted "Liberate Virginia" and asked Pence why the president was solving division. According to two sources familiar with the call, Pence reportedly deflected, saying that the administration is working respectfully with governors.
Most of the idea, comment, information, and criticism containing in these videos have been created by Daily News Report. Before making any important investment decision, use the information contained in these videos as a starting point for conducting your own research. If you make any investment or legal decision, it is advised to consult an expert before making this decision.